So welcome everyone to this evening, and we're going to be talking about Ningxia Red. What I might get you to do to begin with is just mute your microphones, and then when I open up at the end, I'll probably stop recording, and then you can ask any personal questions that you may not want recorded for others to hear. So I'll give you that option. We're going to be talking about Ningxia Red, and I'm going to share my screen and run through a PowerPoint because sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. So bear with me while I do the technology bit, and we'll see whether I can actually do this. Hold on. It helps if you actually press share screen. Hang on, advanced. Okay, that's good. So tell me if you can see the PowerPoint coming up on the screen now. No? Share screen, come on. Here we go. What about now? Yeah? Okay. So welcome, and this is an introduction to Ningxia Red, which is one of the supplement programs, products of Young Living. Now, just tell me if you can hear and see this video. So I'll skip over the videos. I still haven't quite worked out how to share them, but I'll tell you a little bit as we run through this video. This is, oops, go back. Go back, there we go. So Young Living has actually been running for 27 years this year, and the founder is a guy called Gary Young. And Gary was searching, I think, for the fountain of youth, really. He was looking at communities around the world that seemed to have longevity, and he went looking for what their secrets were. And this is the story of how he discovered Ningxia Red in China. So we'll skip the video and we'll go to Ningxia. So what is Ningxia? Let me get my notes so I'm not making it up as I go along. Always helps to have notes. So Ningxia is a wolfberry drink, and it's not the juice of the wolfberry, it's actually the puree, which I'll talk about a little later. And it would help if I put my glasses on. Even though Ningxia Red is improving my eyesight, I'm not quite without glasses just yet. So it's an intense, concentrated, powerful whole food, and it's the puree of the wolfberry or the goji berry, you might know it as, and it's a whole food. And why would we want it in our body every day? Well, these days when we buy food, we're actually getting a depleted version of what our ancestors would have eaten. It's estimated that in just the years between 1975 to 1997, that's just 22 years, and certainly within my lifetime, the average calcium levels in 12 different fresh vegetables dropped by 27%. The iron levels dropped by 30%, and vitamin C dropped by 30%, potassium 14%. So to put that in sort of layman's terms, you'd have to eat 8 oranges today to get equivalent vitamin count and vitamin A that your grandparents got when they ate 1 orange. That's how much our soils have been depleted. And because we want to produce food quickly these days, so lots of foods are grown with measures that mean they're really quick to harvest, but as a result, they don't take in the nutrient value from the soil. Our water sources are not as clean as they used to be, and we're not getting the important vitamins and minerals into our systems. For instance, most people these days are deficient in magnesium. And when you look at what magnesium does in our body, it's something like 300 different biochemical reactions. And then our water sources, not only do we not have certain things in them, we have other chemicals added to them, things like fluoride and chlorine. The other part of the story is that as we age, we absorb less goodness from our food. So we need to be really super boosting our food and making sure that we're taking in all the nutrients that we can so that our DNA stays as healthy as it can. I work in dementia care, and we need to look after our brains, and a superfood like the wolfberry is really indicated as being really helpful for all parts of our body, but particularly those parts that suffer the most when they have inflammation. So when we have those nutrient deficiencies over a long period, we end up with chronic disease, and that's why we need to supplement. So most of that information comes from a fellow by the name of Dr. Jim Bob Haggerton, who is a chiropractor, and he has been involved with Young Living for many years. He's done a lot of research into products like Ningxia Red. So what is Ningxia? Well, as I said, it's the wolfberry, and it's a puree. It's also a super blend of some other juices: blueberry, aronia, cherry, pomegranate, and plum juice. And then it's sweetened with a natural sweetener called stevia, which has got no nasty chemicals in it, grapeseed extract, pure vanilla extract, and some essential oils. And I'll talk about the essential oils a bit later and why they're so important in this superfood drink. But it's got orange, yuzu, which is quite an unusual citrus essential oil, lemon and tangerine are part of the blend. This combination of the whole wolfberry, so not just squeezing it to get its juice out, but actually pureeing it, the juice, the peel, the seeds and the fruit, with all of those other juices that I just talked about, delivers vitamins, minerals, carotenoids and phytonutrients. And it's the only nutrient drink on the market that combines the whole Chinese wolfberry and pure therapeutic grade essential oils into a single beverage. So you're getting the goodness of the fruit as well as the essential oils, which I'll talk about later. Now, there are 80 species of wolfberries worldwide. That's the Lycium wolfberry, but only Barber and wolfberries show the highest nutrient values in scientific testing. And the best place in the world to get them is Ningxia in China. That's a region, and hence the juice gets its name. This region has its irrigation water run off the Yellow River, and its upstream is the Himalayan mountains. So we're talking about pure water. We're not talking about polluted water. And so when the Yellow River floods, which it does regularly, the Ningxia plants get covered in a silt that is mineral rich, and that happens every year. So they're farming the Ningxia. There's a lot of sunlight in this area, so it's taking in a lot of different benefits for our bodies. The region has a lot of differences in its temperature between day and night. And that again creates the run of the sap within the plant. So you're getting again all the goodness into that fruit because of where it's grown in the world and how it's grown. So any other place in the world wouldn't have the same ecological footprint. And so therefore that's the silt that makes the Ningxia berry particularly helpful for our well-being. So what we do know is that Ningxia is China's only region that produces medicinal wolfberries. So part of the reason that Gary Young was so attracted to this region is when he went there were lots and lots of people in this area who were over 100, and they were still fit and healthy. They were working in the fields. They were robust. And there was one woman that he met that was 121 years old. And she looked pretty good. Pretty good indeed for 121. And she was still active. There was no chronic illness. She was working out in the field. So I think that's pretty good. And so he was attracted because he thought, okay, well, this is interesting, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of chronic illness. So if you want to be happy for an hour, go take a nap. If you want to be happy for a day, go fishing. Would you agree, Wes? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you want to be happy for a lifetime, help people. And that's why I teach about Ningxia Red, because I believe in helping other people discover what I've discovered. Now, I want to share a couple of stories about Ningxia, and I'm going to start with my personal story. Now, I'm not sure if you can see the photo or whether you need to move people around. But this is me, back in 2019. I had some terrible adrenal issues, hormonal issues, related, I guess, to the fact that I'd had eczema as a child, and then I'd been on just topical steroids for most of my life, from a young child onwards. And over the years, that had actually been harming my hormonal system without me really being aware. And then I went on an overseas trip, and I didn't take my creams with me because they'd stopped working anyway. They weren't really effective. And I developed this rash, which over the next probably 6 months spread to all over my body. It was like I was on fire, or my nerve endings were painful. I wasn't sleeping, because one of the things we know about our adrenal glands and our cortisone production is that it helps regulate our sleep patterns. So I was probably sleeping, what do you reckon, where's it at my worst, about an hour a night?
If you're lucky.
If I was lucky. So it was pretty bad. And I looked around, and I already knew about Young Living, and I'd started taking Ningxia, and I started to look at what could support my wellness. And so I upped my Ningxia intake. And I think probably within, I would say, 2 weeks of taking about 120 mils a day, the redness started to go out of my skin. And then I noticed I was starting to sleep a little longer. And before long, my skin was really starting to improve. And now I probably look younger than I've ever looked. Isn't that the right answer, Wes? Yeah. You can come and join me on the screen if you want to.
No,
so people can't see I'm holding a gun to your head to say I look younger now. Anyway, so that's my personal story. And now I want to tell you Deb. Now, Deb is a friend of ours who introduced Marjolaine to Young Living. And when Deb first discovered Young Living, she also had a skin disorder, a rare form of eczema called pomphophilic eczema, and it was all over her hands. And as you can see, and I've had eczema on my hands too, very painful, because you use your hands for everything. You put them in water how many times a day, really? And so she, again, was just given steroid creams and told, use this sparingly and hopefully it'll go away. She was waking up tired, really fatigued, and really quite despairing. She had a son who was just about to hit his teens, and he was getting regular cold sores. Her youngest daughter was an asthmatic, and every time she got a cold, it wouldn't just stay as a cold, it would go to a real chest infection. So there were quite a few health issues that they were struggling with as a family. She was then diagnosed with a toxic liver, and needed to really adjust her diet. And one of the things that she was told was that she really needed to look at a gentle detox for her liver. And she started to use Ningxia. She put her children on it, just 15 mils a day, and she noticed, oh my gosh, they're not getting those Noah's not getting cold sores anymore. She started to notice her fatigue wasn't as severe, and she was sleeping better. and was starting to feel less anxious, because one of the things she'd noticed was that her whole health was so out of whack that she was anxious a lot of the time. So Deb tells the story that she then put her dad and her mum on Ningxia, just recommended it, and her father told her that he hadn't had a cold or a flu in over 18 months, and it was something that he used to get seasonally every year. And that's been my experience too. I just haven't had the colds and flus that I would normally have. I want to tell you a little story, and I haven't got a photo, but it's about my mum. My mum, in late 2019, was diagnosed with a lymphatic cancer and was told, we're just going to watch your blood markers, and if they go up too much higher, then we'll talk about chemo or we'll talk about other measures. And right at that point, I said to her, Mum, I just want you to take Ningxia every day, 30 mils, 15 if you don't want to start with 30, and 1 drop of orange essential oil in it. And she's done that pretty much religiously since that time. And she went back 6 months later to the specialist. He ran some more bloods and he said, oh, this is most unusual. Your blood markers have actually gone down, and I would have expected they'd either stay the same or they'd get worse with the type of cancer that you're dealing with. And have you done anything? And she's a bit forgetful, so she didn't remember. And I said to her, Mum, what about the Ningxia? Because that was the only thing that she'd changed. So this is quite an amazing product in what it will go after. Now, I'm not here to diagnose any medical conditions. I'm not here to say that Ningxia will cure any illnesses. All I'm telling you are some stories of real people that I know, and you can draw your own conclusions, and I'd really encourage you to do further research, to ask more questions. You know, sometimes the best research you can do is real life experience, and that's to try something like this. I haven't figured out that there are any major side effects to Ningxia. Some people find when they're drinking something with such high fibre and good nutrients, they might overcome constipation fairly rapidly, would be the polite way to put it. So they might need to pull back and not use quite so much to begin with. And I have had people in my team just start on a teaspoon a day and build up from there, and you still get the benefits. That's Deb's story. This is Ruth. Now, this is Ruth on the left-hand side. Do you want to come and look at the pictures? Ruth had childhood eczema, and she's about 13 in these photos. And the before photo was taken 1 month before the after photo. And in that month, she had taken, 15 mils or 30, maybe 30 mils a day for the 30 days. And this was the effect. And that was the only thing she changed. So you can, again, draw your own conclusions, but you can see how red and angry her skin is on the left and what it looks like a month later. Oh,
there we go.
Who's that?
Is that a real person?
That's a real person. That's really my husband, Wes. Do you want to share what Ningxia Red's done for you, or do you want me to give a summary?
No, I'm happy to share.
All right.
I just think God had a very, very fun day when he created the wolfberry, because he created this powerhouse of a berry that has every stitch of it is good for you. And so Young Living, obviously in this bottle, they puree it for a very good reason, because solids and liquids from that fruit are beneficial in so many ways. And it's a super, super drink, but Young Living decided to make it a super duper drink by adding some essential oils to it as well. My story isn't skin. My story is I suffer from depression and anxiety. And I've discovered over a time that I'm able to lower my medication for that to the point now where I'm actually off it. But the big story for me with Ningxia was that I was diagnosed as having diabetes 2, and that did not thrill me. and Andrea had been into Young Living, and I was Mr. Skeptic at that stage. And I decided, okay, well, I've got nothing to lose. I'll give that a crack. And after a very short space of time, my blood readings dropped dramatically. And the only thing that had changed was the fact that I was taking Ningxia every day. So thank you, God, for inventing Ningxia puree and Young Living for harnessing it, because I just love it straight. I love it in shakes. I haven't heard of anyone that makes ice blocks out of it, but I'm sure that somebody does. You can have it any way you like. Oh, yeah, there he goes. Vito makes ice blocks. It's just wonderful stuff. And I love to hear the different stories, because it seems to be so positive on so many things. Andrea has emphasised the various skin problems that everyone has, but mine aren't that. Mine are emotional and psychological and diabetic, and it's a super juice, and we're very blessed to have it.
Thanks, honey. So you can see Wes's actual results up on the screen. Back in 2018, when we first did a 30-day challenge, his fasting glucose was 15.8 at the end, or mid to late November. And we had started, I think we'd started the challenge in October. And that was his fasting glucose in November. By the time February came, after we'd done the 30 days, we decided that we were going to stay on it, not because we'd seen great health benefits straight away. And I'll talk about natural remedies are not quick fixes. They're not medications. So you don't take it and suddenly you're well. What it's doing is working behind the scenes, as I like to say, and at a cellular level. So it takes... They say in our bodies we turn over all our cells within every 4 months. So it's going to take a good 4 months before you see a lasting effect from Ningxia. And it's often people say, oh, I don't think it's working. I say, hang in there. And then they stay on it for the 4-month period. And then at the end of it, they think, okay, I'll stop. And then they're like, give me that Ningxia. Because they realise when they take it away that their energy's... we ran out one time and we were devastated.
I was lethargic until the delivery man turned up and saved me.
We almost accosted the delivery man at the door, like, thank goodness you're here. But anyway, you can see Wes's fasting glucose then in the February from the November went down to 8.9. So the only thing he had changed at that point was Ningxia, adding Ningxia. So what does it do? And I guess I want to take you on a tiny little science trip tonight for all the science geeks out there. If you're not, just, tune out, sing yourself a song, whatever you want to do. But what does it do? Well, seven quick reasons why it actually works. So the science behind it. You can take our word for it or you can look into it. And I'm a bit of a science geek, so I like to look into it. The first thing is that it's packed full of antioxidants. And in a nutshell, that actually helps protect our cells from aging stress or oxidative stress. So it's just a byproduct of when oxygen is going into your cells. It's got to be dealt with in a healthy way. So when we take an antioxidant of any sort, we're actually preventing premature aging. So I like to say I'm aging backwards now that I've discovered Ningxia Red. By the time I'm 80, I'll look like I'm 20. That's the plan anyway. Good. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? So it combats premature aging. It increases energy and strength because of what it's doing at that cellular level. It helps maintain healthy blood pressure, maintain healthy blood sugar, which was Wes's experience and a couple of other people in our team. It protects the DNA and it helps build strong blood vessels and helps maintain weight. And part of the reason it does that is because it evens out your blood glucose. You don't have those ups and downs that lead to sugar craving and wanting, I've got to have carbohydrate, I've got to have sugar. It supports visual health, and there's a reason for that. Memory support. It inhibits a breakdown of lipids in our body. So look, it does so much, and really it's attacking inflammation that can lead to chronic disease. So when we look at 30 mils of this red gold, as I like to call it, it's the equivalent of 900 grams of the wolfberry itself. So what we know about the wolfberry is that it's the highest antioxidant on the planet. So it's got and there's a measure that's called the ORAC measure, which, you know, I won't go into all the, basically they do tests to say how does this antioxidant work. Wolfberries, Ningxia wolfberries, are by far above anything else that is an antioxidant. So, you know, you've heard about blueberries and how good they are. This blows blueberries out of the water. And in fact, there's blueberry juice in it as well. So we know that the antioxidants alone in Ningxia, aside from the essential oils and the other juices, have the power of 34 onions, 100 oranges, 814 blueberries, 22 medium carrots, 10 pounds of spinach, 55 pounds of almonds, 59 broccoli florets, 73 strawberries, and 93 apples. So that's a powerhouse of well-being right there. And if you can't get your kids to eat vegetables, at least give them a shot of this each day. It's going to help. It really is. And they'll love the taste because it's a yummy juice. So that's the first thing. It's an antioxidant. The second thing is that it does something really interesting in our gut. It converts acid to alkaline. And most of us are now aware that the environment of our bodies needs to be as alkaline as possible, because in an acidic environment, that's when disease thrives. So bacteria, fungus, cancer cells, they love an acidic environment. So diet plays a vital role in maintaining the correct pH balance in our body, and life on Earth depends on having that appropriate pH level for human life to continue. And what we know is most health is linked to having an alkaline. So what happens with the wolfberry is that even though it starts out acidic, when we convert in our stomach, it starts to break down as an acid. But the minute it hits our small intestine, where it's taken up into our bloodstream for our cells, it converts back to alkaline, which is quite amazing. There's only one other food that does that on the planet, and that's lemon. And so we're actually able to convert certain proteins, amino acids, into protein because we drink Ningxia. So it's doing an amazing work for a little juice out of a bottle, really. So that's the alkaline, acid to alkaline. Third reason is that it's a perfect vitamin mineral pair. For us to get the benefit of our minerals in our bodies, they need to be balanced. The ratio, if we have too much calcium, we can end up with a zinc deficiency, for instance. Too much zinc can suppress our immunity and lead to anemia. So both the mineral profile and the mineral balance of Ningxia Red is without equal in the plant kingdom. It's got a magnesium to calcium ratio of 1:1, which is what our bodies need. So no point taking magnesium if you're not taking calcium, because both are needed to work efficiently in the body. It's got zinc to copper, 2 parts zinc to 1 part copper. It's got potassium to magnesium, 8:1. Exactly what our bodies need. So what an amazing plant, and what God's put into this plant. It's also a macronutrient, which simply means you're getting whole food nutrition from a drink. It's coming from a food-based source rather than being extracted as a juice. So it means that your body can take it in and do what it needs to do with it quite quickly. It doesn't have to be, because it's liquid, it's heaps easier for our bodies to actually absorb. And it's also got a number of enzymes in it that mean it's really easy to digest, and can help people who have digestive issues in quite interesting ways. So most of us would come back with a weak or deficient digestive system just because of what I was saying before. Our food sources are not what they used to be. And then we add medications to the mix. We add stress. Most of us living under, stressful situations. We add processed food that our body doesn't kind of recognise. What on earth is this? It's not in its natural form. And so when we get Ningxia in a liquid form, our bodies absorb it fast and we don't have to break it down. It's ready to go. So really, really good stuff. Now, remember I said to you at the beginning that this was a puree. I don't know if you can see, if I hold this up to the camera, if you can see that sort of line in the bottom of the bottom, so about here, that is all pulp. So when you're drinking Ningxia, make sure you shake the bottle is the advice there, so that you're actually getting all the goodness dispersed through your drink. But it will settle. Now, that's probably only been out of a box for a week and a half. If I left that for months and just didn't touch it, it would settle even further. You would see that pulp, the line would come up a bit.
Compact is the word.
Compact. Thank you. Thank you to the scientist in the room. All right. So let's go on from the macronutrient. Number 5. It's infused with essential oils. And I mentioned the oils before. Where are we? It's like in adding the essential oils, Gary Young discovered that this was then going to make sure that the goodness of the wolfberry and the other juices gets right down to the cell level. Because of the size of the molecules of essential oils, they're like a delivery system. They're like FedEx on steroids to get the goodness of this juice right where it needs to go, which is why it's so powerful in tackling inflammation, because it's happening right at the cellular level. So those 4 citrus oils, look into them. In fact, you mentioned that your anxiety and your depression have changed, and I know that too. I came off antidepressants about 2 years ago using Ningxia, and with the support of my doctor, weaning off, and had an incredible, and have not looked back and have not gone back onto them even when I was so sick in 2019. And it's partly because the 4 essential oils in there are known to be mood enhancing, and particularly tangerine. So look into do a little bit of research into tangerine oil. Reason 6 is that it has enzymes, and I mentioned that before, but many people who struggle to absorb nutrients, they end up with gut issues, tummy pains after eating, and partly it's because we're not breaking down our food well enough. So the fact of the matter is there are enzymes in Ningxia Red that really help you get the best out of what you're also eating. So it's got a lasting effect. It's not just the shot as you take it. It's what it's doing to your gut in order that you can get better nutrients out of what you eat. And then the number 7, we're almost there with the science. So if you're not a science geek, you can tune back in now, is the cell and insulin support. So this is why it's so good for people who are struggling with diabetes and blood glucose issues. Yeah. What we know from some of the research that's been done is that we're able to turn around some of the damage that's done at the cellular level, so that ability for the cell to actually take in insulin can actually start to be repaired through how Ningxia Red works, how it actually uses the natural sugars in the wolfberry to open up the cell and communicate with it. Now, there's a whole book, and I haven't got the book because I've loaned it to someone, that Gary Young wrote, and this is the name of it here, Ningxia Wolfberry, the Ultimate Superfood. He's done all the research studies are sitting in that book, so you can actually, if you're a bit of a skeptic and you'd like to sort of look at the research behind it, it's all there, and it's quite powerful. So I had to read about it. I couldn't take anyone else's word for it. That's just me. So all of our cells, the cell membrane that protects the cell is made up of oils and fats and phospholipids. So if you're eating the wrong sugar, sort of man-made sugar and high sugar foods, you actually do damage to that membrane. And so then the cell can't communicate the way it's meant to, and your health starts to break down. When you mess up that cell membrane, you actually need more insulin to do the job that the cell would normally do. And so the research shows that probably 40% of us are already insulin resistant. In other words, it's taking more insulin to do what our bodies used to do. So I guess to wrap it all up in 2 sentences, the Ningxia wolfberry and good nutrition can impact your cell membrane, and that'll help correct the pH of your blood, so that the cell can start to communicate the way it was created in the beginning. It's like restoring to factory settings, and give the mitochondria, which are right down at the cellular level, the energy that it needs to really communicate properly and do its work. So that's why it starts to correct things that are inflammation based, because it's happening right at that cellular level, and it's got the right sugar to open the cell door to let all of those functions happen. So, when you eat poorly, and we all do it, I mean, there's no saints on this call tonight. We're human beings. What I'm going to show you won't be able to hear this lady's voice, but I just want to show you what the blood, this is some photograph of actual cells, and it shows you that the lipid layer on the cells, when we're not eating properly, we're not getting the right sugars, kind of clumps together, becomes almost like a glue, and the cells stack up on each other. So you'll see that in the first picture. So I'll just run this. So you can see the cells sort of clumping together. And then taking Ningxia. So the cell can't do its proper job if it's that clumped together, that communication between cells. So then they took a blood sample and they looked at someone's blood, and then they looked at it 15 minutes after taking Ningxia, 1 ounce of Ningxia. So unbelievable. Look at that. So cheers. So we're seeing an impact at a cellular level. Now, normally, if you're having a face-to-face class, if we weren't in lockdown in Melbourne, I'd offer you a taste. But if someone's invited you to this class and you've never tasted Ningxia, hit them up for a sachet later. You need to try it. Ningxia comes in the bottles, which is fantastic. But if you're travelling, these are absolutely fantastic. This is 60 mils. Someone was telling me they pop theirs in the freezer in summer, and they're like a slushy when they come out, so they're really yummy. But you can also just keep it in the fridge, and so that's 60 mils. You can make that go for 2 days, or if you're like me, I'm taking 60 mils a day now, because if you've found the fountain of youth, you might as well bathe in it completely, is my theory on life. Yeah. So have a taste. If you haven't tasted it, please ask the person who invited you to this class for a sample. Now, Ningxia is an interesting product, and I won't go into all of them. I just thought I might share one odd use of Ningxia. You can take it as an antacid. Because the wolfberry juice contains enzymes that aid digestion, just if you've got an off stomach, sometimes 1 ounce or 30 mils of Ningxia is better, certainly better than a quick ease. Did I say that out loud? Yes. So, if it's better. It's going from acid to alkaline, which is working as an antacid. This little bloke likes it.
My aftershot.
It could have been your aftershot, you're right. So lots of people like to play around with their Ningxia and create shots by adding extra essential oils from the culinary range. And there's a few great ideas here. I like the Mind Blaster. That's 30 mils of Ningxia with a drop of lime, peppermint, citrus fresh, frankincense and cinnamon bark. That would blow your mind, I think. Just the cinnamon alone. Don't go heavy-handed on the cinnamon. And there's a great one at the bottom, Simply Smooth it's called, and it's got tangerine, lime and sacred frankincense in it. So, you know, lots of people have different ideas. I love Ningxia on a hot day, my shot of Ningxia with sparkling mineral water, so as a long drink. I sometimes add other things to it as well, other oils. So we all have our favourite way to drink Ningxia, but as Wes said, it's pretty darn good as a shot too. Here's 30 reasons to drink Ningxia Red. I'm not going to read all 30. Just have a little look yourself, see what jumps out at you. Most people like to point out number 7. And you know, I guess if the reality is, if you're dealing with inflammation, then you're probably more inclined to go for number 7. But it helps in lots of ways. I noticed more than anything my sleep improved, and I think it's just because I'm feeding my cells properly, so my hormones are more regulated. Therefore, I'm getting that lovely flow of awake in the daytime and asleep at night, which is the way we were created to be. So, yeah.
Number 11's really...
Number 11, optimised cardiovascular health.
Heart health.
Heart health, yeah, that's right, and circulation. Yeah, and lots of immune-building properties in Ningxia too, which, without drawing attention to things that are happening in the world, might be worth considering. All right. So how do you get your hands on Ningxia? Well, I guess there are 2 steps really to using. We recommend that people buy wholesale. You can buy Ningxia Red from Young Living at retail if you would like to, but why would you do that if you could buy some Ningxia and set up a wholesale account? So this is the cheapest way to buy Ningxia Red. There's 3 750ml bottles in the premium starter kit, and there are 32 sachets. So I worked out, I did some maths. I actually did some maths, honey.
Well done.
I know. I thought this one. And I worked out that you would have enough Ningxia if you were taking just 30 mils a day. You would have nearly the equivalent of, where is it? Enough for almost 4 months just from the starter kit if it was just you. Now, the trick is you've got to hide it from the family, because once the kids get their mitts on this and they taste it, it ain't going to last 4 months, I'm just telling you. And in fact, I have a girlfriend who just started last month with Ningxia, and her brother who lives with her, he's discovered it. He's his blood glucose is much more controlled now. He's diabetic, and his doctor's actually reducing his medication because he's going, what on earth is happening here? So you try keeping it to yourself would be that's my challenge to you once you get your starter kit. But so that works out at about 6 cents a mil, and really far better than having a coffee. As much as I enjoy my coffee, far better to have a shot of Ningxia. So that sets you up for a wholesale account with Young Living, which means you can actually buy anything within the Young Living range at 24% off for the rest of your life. So that's a pretty good deal. It's nearly a quarter off. There are no other setup fees. All you have to do to maintain that wholesale account is once a year, as a minimum, place an order of about 50 points, which is about $80. So even if if you just started with the Ningxia for 4 months to see what was going to happen, you would still have that capacity to buy lots of other products that will enhance your life as Ningxia does. So I guess that's what we would recommend. There are other ways to buy it. I do want to, I'd be remiss of me not to touch on Essential Rewards while we're here. It's not mandatory, but it's our loyalty program. And what it allows you to do is get credits back for your spending. So if you've got children and they discover the benefit of Ningxia Red, then you may find that you're ordering quite regularly. And so you want to take advantage of everything that Young Living's got on offer. And one of the things they have on offer is their loyalty program. So for the first 3 months, you get 10% of any of your spending back in points to get additional products. And there's nothing like shopping for free. So as you go on, as you've gone from month 4 through to month 24, that will go up to 20% back. And then from 2 years onwards, it's 25% back. So on top of your 24% off, you're getting 25% back. And there are gifts that the company also offer at certain levels. So that can all be explained to you, but I'd be remiss of me not to tell you about that, because as an Essential Rewards member, you can actually buy Ningxia again at that almost same cheap rate that you buy when you buy your first starter kit. And that's the Essential Rewards kit. 4 bottles of Ningxia, 10 sachets, and that's the way we buy it in our house each month. We give one to my elderly mother-in-law who's we're supporting her eye health because she has macular degeneration, and we scoff the rest, really. Now, I think that's gone off the screen because I don't know what's happening there. Hang on. I'm not sure if you can see this, but this is this month's promo. Oh, it's gone. Hang on. You probably can't see it because for some reason it's gone off the screen. But each month at certain points values, Young Living also give away free product. So I've got lots of people who started just by using Ningxia, and then they got some free oils and they started to use the oils as well. So yeah, it's a great program that rewards you as you go. And then just to finish up, the ways to get started with Ningxia, we would recommend that you set yourself a little challenge, that you just try it for 30 days and you take 30 or 60 mils daily and go for a walk, try to cut out any processed foods, particularly sugar, and see how you feel after 30 days. It's quite a challenge to cut some things out. You don't realise how much sugar, for instance, is hidden in foods. But we're just coming out of the end of that, a 30-day challenge. And I think a few people who are on this call have also been on that. And I thought I might just give them an opportunity to say if they've noticed any changes in their health. So if you're one of the people who's done the 30-day challenge, you might like to share anything that you've noticed. Just unmute yourself and introduce yourself and tell us what you've noticed. So, Jill.
I was waiting.
Jill.
Hi, Andrea. My name's Jill. I've just finished a 30-day challenge and, well, I lost 3 kilos. So that was a good start. And woohoo! And my insides feel a lot better and a lot healthier, and I just have lots more energy. And, of course, you know, I'm 80 years of age, but to look at me, you wouldn't think so. So, yes, I'm ageing backwards too.
You're aging. Beautiful. Thank you, Jill.
No worries.
And you sort of intimated before.
Another Jill too.
There's another Jill. You don't have to be called Jill to
Hello,
drink
Jill.
Ningxia. I just thought I'd point that out. But go on. What have you noticed, Jill?
Well, I was taking an opioid a day for pain. That stopped. In fact, I'm taking a pain bomb 3 times a day. I haven't used Movicol. You all know what Movical's for, don't you? You know, the other end.
Constipation, yes.
Yeah.
Constipation, yes, well, not a problem anymore.
Okay, good to hear.
And I've been doing some other stuff too with my health, both emotional and a health protocol with oils and stuff. And it is incredible. And I actually realised one area of really hot arthritis in my body isn't hot anymore.
Okay.
And I'm able to walk. Yay.
Yay. Well done.
So
Thank you.
that's pretty exciting.
It is. It's
Oh,
very
and
exciting.
I'm older than Jill too, and I'm looking svelte and young.
You're in the dark there, girl. I mean, what's going on?
Oh man, oh man! I turned the TV on to look at the weather, and I must confess, I fell asleep. Murray walks in. God bless him. He's done the washing, taken it off the line. Jill, what are you doing sitting here? I'm like, oh, you should have come in earlier. I'm meant to be on. He goes, get on your thing. So it's good
Well,
telling me
we're
to get
glad
on
you
my
made it.
Zoom.
We're glad you
I'm
made
sorry
it.
I'm late.
Right. All right. There's no late. Anyone else want to share if they've had some good results over the 30-day challenge? Or we'll move on.
I've had a really good time this time around. I think I always want to lose weight. I always want to lose weight, but obviously I still haven't lost that last 5 kilos after my accident. I put on a bed. People don't realise that I did put on a bed, being on the wheelchair, and this time I just got more energy, and I can't walk like everyone else, so I have to do bicycling and other activities, swimming. I can walk, but I just choose not to put too much pressure on my feet all the time. But yes, it always amazes me how much more energy I get and how much more healed. Vita goes, oh my gosh, you're kind of like dancing now. And it's amazing. Always
Awesome.
amazes me.
For those who don't know, Marjolaine, she had quite a major car accident back in 2018. 2018, yeah. And she was in hospital for quite some time, rehab in 4 months, and in a wheelchair for a big part of that. And she's fought back. She's had lots of surgeries. How many surgeries, Marjolaine? 5 or
I had 5 or 6 just running.
Yep.
And so it took really like September, the following July, to actually walk without crutches, really in pain. So
Yep.
it wasn't until the whole year, and I was still holding on to Vito. The following September, when we went to Utah, I was still in pain. It really took 2 years to really come. So now I'm going on to my 3rd, and I'm feeling like every Ningxia challenge brings me closer to normality. And sometimes I don't even recognize that I have had an accident. So it's amazing.
It's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Way tomorrow for me.
Yeah. So, yeah, Wes is going to weigh himself tomorrow after the 30-day challenge, but we know he's lost weight because we can see it in his clothes. I've lost, I think, not quite 3, I think 2 and a bit kilos, and just, again, sleeping so much better, so much more energy. And I'm not, this time around, this is the 3rd challenge I've done, I'm not craving sugar at all. So that's huge for me because I'm a real sweet tooth.
Yep.
I get it from my granny. Okay, so I just want to touch on get your Ningxia for free because that's the even better price. Like, woo! And really that just is to underscore that Young Living is also a business opportunity. And so you don't have to build a business, but by introducing others to Ningxia, then the company will reward you, and that can go a long way towards paying for your own Ningxia. So again, I wouldn't be doing the company credit if I didn't let you know there are ways to structure and get your Ningxia for free. So we do have other workshops. Tonight's been the introduction to energy and immune support with Ningxia Red, but we do workshops on women's health, natural health for the family, just an introduction to essential oils, getting rid of the toxic chemicals in your house and home. And at the moment within our Facebook community, we're doing a whole series on the Thieves range, which is about that toxic-free ditch and switch. And Vito had the cutest little video just the day before yesterday with the three little boys helping him mix up the no chemical cleaners. That's worth watching. So if you're not already part of that community, again, ask for your sachet and ask to be joined into that Facebook group, because there's heaps of information, and there's actually a 30-day Ningxia challenge in that group that you can just follow through at your own leisure and learn heaps more, a lot more science about Ningxia if you want to take it deeper. We also do a natural health for pets, using essential oils for our animals with in safe ways. And our little dog is 11 now, so he's got a bit of getting a few aches and pains, and I use essential oils that I rub on myself and then I just pat onto him, and he's a much happier chappy. So yeah, there's lots we can teach you about essential oils. So I really want to thank you for coming tonight. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we will stay on the line and answer any questions if people have got questions specifically. So I'll stop sharing my screen to start with, and I will stop recording.